So where did that name Burnt Hills actually come from? We don't know for sure, but there are two stories, both based in folklore, which we think might be the reality. One has to do with the people of what was then called Schenectady. That's the Dutch name for what is today's Schenectady. When the Dutch were living there, they would notice that far north, up in the hills, they would very often be on fire. And so what was really happening up there was the Indians were burning some of the fields and some of the brush so that the deer would be attracted to the new growth that was coming up out of the ground. The Indians would then shoot the deer and have food and clothing and all kinds of things that they used deer for. So the people of Schenectady began talking about the land of the Burnt Hills. So I'm standing here in what in the early 1900s was the corner of Lake Hill Road and Kingsley Road, and that was really the original Burnt Hills. This was the place that the people called Burnt Hills, one of the few commercial shopping centers in the town of Ballston over 100 years ago. So there's another story, again, based in folklore, but much more ominous story. It too had to do with the Indians, but also the white people. It so happened that back in the 1700s, furs were a very precious commodity to a white man. White man could kill animals, get the furs, and sell them in Europe and make quite a bit of money. So that's what white men wanted to do. And the story is that some white men were out hunting. And they were out, they saw some Indians who'd already done some huntings and had skinned some animals and draped the furs over their shoulders. So the white man killed the Indians, stole the furs, and then burned the area to cover up their crime. The land of the Burnt Hills. Eliphalet Ball came to this area, which we call the town of Ballston today, back in the 1770s. However, he was not the first of the white people to be here. But he's given a lot of credit because he brought with him a settlement of about 30 or 40 people. However, the McDonald brothers had been here since the 1760s, and they lived down by the lake. And the folklore, once again, is that one day the McDonald brothers and Eliphalet Ball met and talked, and there was a deal made. And the deal was that Eliphalet Ball would give the McDonald brothers a quantity of rum in exchange for his being able to name this town after himself. The deal was made. The town became known as Mr. Ball's Town. Eventually it gets shortened to Ballston. The original settlement of Reverend Eliphalet Ball was in the vicinity of Charlton Road and Middle Line Road, probably somewhere across the street from where the Ballston Center Church is today located. And then there's the story of Angus McDiarmid. Angus had been kicked out of Scotland for insulting the royalty, and he came to what is today Hop City Road in Ballston, built himself a house. You see it pictured right here. One night, there's a terrible, violent thunderstorm happening. Angus can sense, because as a farmer, he has these incredibly good senses. He can sense that his cattle are not where they're supposed to be. So he goes out into the storm to put his cattle back where they belong. And as he walks out to his fields, he notices a weird smell, a sulfur smell. And he notices a white cloud up in the sky. And that white cloud had cloven feet and a slouch hat over the top. And he recognized it as the devil, and the devil had come to get him. Well, he's petrified. He runs back inside and promises his wife he will forever from that day on go to church. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why the road next to his house is now called Devil's Lane.